I'm coming, y'all. I'm coming. All right, hey guys, welcome. I'm super excited to have you guys. It's another Monday night. As usual, I am trying to click 50,000 buttons, so bear with me while I am just getting set up on YouTube, or Instagram rather. I always like to let people know where I am. Thank you for already smashing the like button, you guys. I am just pinning my comment here. So you guys watch the replay, just skip ahead. I'll try to put the timestamp in the description so that you don't have to listen to all the comments and things like that. But let me know where you guys are watching from. I've got someone here on time. That's very nice of you to be here on time. Tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We are going to be talking about a woman's place in the world. I know that could be something that is confusing for a lot of women. Like, what the heck are we supposed to do? We keep being told what we're not supposed to be doing. So we're going to talk about the woman's place in the world. We are also going to get into the passing of Kevin Samuels and what his body of work meant to me. I'm going to be talking about my privilege. And for those of you guys who are watching on Instagram, please make sure you go over. Here's my little ghetto sign. Go over and watch on YouTube, okay? YouTube takes care of the content creators, and I'm turning this off in a little bit. Pretty background. You don't have to look at the ugly green screen, okay? So shout out. We have, oh, hey, Mike Perez, one of my favorites on YouTube, is watching with us here. But like I said, we're going to be getting into my privilege. Somebody brought up my privilege, and that's something that I want to talk about on this show. And then we're going to do 4 highlights from pulling from posts from my recent Instagram post. So one of them is, are secret bank accounts okay for wives to have? We're going to get into why men are so frustrated in dating and relationships. We're going to talk about what makes a woman attractive to a man. And finally, how a woman can know if she's truly ready for marriage. Okay, these are questions that you have to answer yourself within your private heart to see if you are totally ready. So you guys, those of you who are watching on Instagram, please watch on YouTube because they take care of us over there. So this will only be on for just a little bit, okay? So click on over there. The link is in my story on Instagram. And I am getting started now. All right, you guys know the drill. If you shout out your city and state, I will shout you out at the very beginning, and then I will try to get this thing just going without a bunch of chit chat. I try to give you guys a little razzle dazzle today. That's how I was feeling today. So hope you guys like that. But let's get into it, you guys. We are going to talk about a woman's place in the world, and we're going to get into a lot of stuff. This is going to be an intense episode for me. It's going to be very interesting trying to fit it into an hour. But I'm going to do my best to do that. And I need lots of love from the comment section. You guys always come through, but I need a little extra because this week was pretty intense. Faith is tuning in from Dallas, Texas. Very nice. You guys, can you jump over to YouTube, please? They take care of us on YouTube. And I can see the comments on YouTube. I don't see the comments here. So if you guys could watch on YouTube, that would be fantastic. Y'all want to see my little ghetto sign for Instagram? So please watch on YouTube. Please. There are 8 of you guys, 9 of you watching. Please watch on YouTube. It really helps. Click the link in my story and jump on YouTube so I can see you guys there. And you get a pretty green screen. You guys, if they're watching on Instagram, they get an ugly green screen. So please, everyone watching YouTube. Okay? Jazz says, hey, Yancy. Hey, girl. Hey. All right, so you guys know the first couple minutes it's just a little fluff. So like I said, if you're watching the replay, just skip ahead. I have my little graphics set up today, so you guys can actually look at the graphics. I'm really proud of myself. I put in the work. But let's see where are we at. Okay, so let's get started without further ado. We're 4 minutes in. We gave people time for CP time. I begged people on Instagram to come watch on YouTube, so please watch on YouTube, you guys. Okay, but let's just jump into it. Oh, perfect. She came over from Instagram. I recognize that name. She said, hey, boo. Hey, girl. She said, BRB, let me get something in the oven real quick. You know what, Faith? Just for you, I'll stall for another 60 seconds. How about that? You guys, this is going to be super interactive, and the stuff I'm going to be sharing with you today, I really hope puts a huge spark into our community and can potentially change the world. So please stick around. Just bear with me while I let everybody come on in and get settled because, like I said, when I hit the ground, we are going to run. So go ahead and drop your city and state. If you guys are still watching on Instagram, please go to my story and click the link so you can watch on YouTube. YouTube is where it's at. YouTube takes care of the content creators. Instagram, it's just free labor. So yeah, keeping it 100. Okay. All right. So let's get into number one, a woman's place. What is a woman's place in the world? You guys, I have been on this incredible journey. Part of this is part of why I'm going to be talking about my privilege in the next segment, because it all ties in together. But this has been a journey for me. I did not start out intending to be a content creator. Literally was the furthest thing from my mind. I don't even think I knew what a content creator was, like an influencer, so to speak. I was a chick trying to get answers. I was a chick trying to understand men, and I came to social media so that I could ask people basically anonymously, because like who knows who I am, right? So this was not my intention. And so I have seen the world through the eyes of a content consumer, and I have really kind of just bumbled and fumbled and gotten here just by experience and kind of trial and error. And so one of the things that I know is that with women can feel very bashed on social media and in real life. So many women feel really, really looked down on. They feel discouraged. They feel defeated. And I'm going to be really, really honest. I would say because of my privilege, if I can use that trending term, I didn't actually understand why a lot of women felt that way. 7 years into the game, almost 8, I now have a way better understanding. So bear with me, you guys. And I hope that this new understanding will help me to be more empathetic and therefore more effective in my communication. But I want to go over first with the woman's place in the world. I'm so mad I forgot to update my graphics, y'all. Woman's place in the world. Sorry about that. I want to let you guys know that I understand your pain, ladies. Okay, so this is sort of a confession, because I really didn't understand your pain when I first started out in this journey, but that's the purpose, is to learn along the way, right? I learned that a woman wants to feel safe. She wants to feel safe in 3 different ways. She wants to feel safe financially. That's pretty obvious, right? I did know that. She wants to feel physically safe. Of course, who doesn't want to feel physically safe? But she also wants to feel emotionally safe. And I will interchange the word emotions and spirit together. Okay, so it's spiritually safe, emotionally safe, what have you. So here is where it was confusing for me. My thought was, okay, if you want to be financially safe, why don't you just get married? It seems so clear. That's what I did. You know, I finished school just because my parents basically forced me to go to college. But the second I got out, I was like head on a swivel, met a man who was extremely eligible, bagged him, tagged him, got my MRS, as I like to say. So in my mind, it was just really simple. Just get married and then you'll be taken care of. And I was well taken care of. Here's the thing. A lot of women don't understand what their options are. And a lot of times it doesn't seem as simple as I just put it. And so now I'm speaking from a place of more understanding. So I want to give some just quick solutions quickly. And I promise I'm getting to the woman's place in the world. But one of the options that we as women had in the past, and I understand not everybody has this, is a place to stay. So it used to be common, like the norm, for a woman to stay home until she got married. So I hear you ladies when you say, you know, well, what option did I have besides becoming a career woman? I have to pay my bills. And so that used to be the solution. You would just stay home. So I would say, even though it's 2022, if your family is allowing you to stay home, one of my clients is a daughter who runs a business out of one of their extra rooms. And I don't think she contributes to rent, but she definitely helps around the house. There are a lot of parents who are okay with their daughters staying at home because the alternative is, you know, a little sketchy. So if that is an option for you, young ladies, especially those of you who are just getting started in life, maybe you are just getting started in college or things like that, look at your future long term. Because if you are in such a hurry to leave the house, you are also going to be having to face rent and all these expenses that come of living on your own. Another option for women is, if you don't want to stay at home, maybe you feel like it's really restrictive or what have you, you can also seek out women who are in your similar situation. So let's say someone you went to school with, try to find someone who has a similar goal, not necessarily, you don't want someone whose goal is to party and just turn up. You want someone who has a similar goal. So let's just say you don't have the luxury of living at home anymore, but you could cohabitate with someone else. And again, if you're looking long term, you're not having this be your permanent situation. You could live with multiple people and really cut down on expenses. Here in America, especially, we are extremely spoiled and we want to have everything quickly. We want to have this microwave effect where, I want to have it all. So I want my own place, my own car, my this and that. Sometimes you have to get a less fancy car. Sometimes you have to live in an area where you wouldn't pick as your first choice. And perhaps you have a roommate if you do not have the funds, okay? Because the alternative we are going to get into later. But again, I want to address the concerns that women have for financial security, okay? Now, if you guys are still watching on Instagram, please come over to YouTube. The link is in my story. You guys can watch there. It really, really helps me out if you guys can go on YouTube. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who is tuning in. If you could do me a favor and smash that like button, it really helps because it lets YouTube know that people are enjoying what they are watching, and it will push it out to more people. So thank you in advance for smashing that like button. And if you're watching your cell phone, you probably have to close the chat box to even see the like button and then just come back into the chat, okay? Oh, thank you. I see you guys hitting it. All right, so that's another thing. Now, here's the biggest thing you can do to save money as a woman if you do not want to fall into the category of a lot of the women who reach out to me who are really stressed out. Again, this is for the younger ladies or the ladies who have been lucky so far. Practicing a life of abstinence is 100% effective birth control. Now, you guys might think I'm trying to send you back to, caveman days or whatever you want to call it. It is extremely effective because raising a child is very, very expensive. Not to mention the fact that when you have a child, it makes it more and more difficult to find a partner who is compatible with you. Let's just be honest. Let's not put our feelings into this. Somebody who is looking to start a family of his own is going to be more apt to want a woman who has not already started without him, okay? So this is something that you younger ladies really need to think about. And I'm going to be getting into this later, but don't buy the BS that sexual liberation is sexual liberation, okay? Promiscuity is not sexual liberation. It is making you play with like Russian roulette, essentially, with your future, because there's a very good chance you're going to end up pregnant. And if you are a person who doesn't believe in abortion, you are going to be raising a child probably on your own, okay? So there are consequences. But again, we're still under the category of financial security. If a woman wants financial security and she's still single. The other thing that I want to mention to you guys is I just told you how to save money. Multiple ways you could save money or not incur expenses down the road, okay? Yes, I'm on YouTube right now. You can click the link in my story and watch me over there. It really helps me if you watch on that platform as opposed to this one. Thank you so much. The other thing, and this is really, 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 really key, and I hate that I am just speeding through this because there's so much content I'm going to be talking about today. But the biggest thing is the Bible says that you cannot trust in God and money, meaning you're going to serve one or the other. I was watching the documentary that was put out on YouTube by the gentleman who was the bodyguard for Biggie, not for Biggie Smalls, for Puff Daddy. And he was telling the story of how Biggie Smalls passed away, and there were so many opportunities that he could have helped him avoid that situation, help Biggie avoid, being killed. Biggie could have been avoided getting killed, but both of them were motivated by money. He said it directly. And I was really impressed that he actually ended the 3-part documentary with that. He said, look, at the end of the day, he said, I made these decisions because I was focusing on a check. Biggie put himself in situations where he knew he was in harm's way because he was really trying to get a check. It wasn't because they were being greedy. A lot of times it's because people don't know what else to do. They feel like, how am I going to live? And so your trust subconsciously gets put in money. And a lot of women, when I hear what they say, when I say, honey, why are you doing this? Why are you focusing so hard on your career? They say, I don't know what else to do. So you have to consciously make an effort to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, with the Lord, so that you can trust in him. I'm telling you, this is not some hokey dokey, religious type of a thing. This is a real thing. There is a real spirit realm. There is a real creator of the universe. And I have personally said, God, there are months that it's a little tight. Can you give me some wisdom as to what I can do to make more money? And I'm telling you, he comes through every single time. This isn't some cute little prayer and then, I'm just looking for something magical. I'm actually looking for my creator to show up in a way that only he can. And he warns us over and over again, do not put your faith in money. The other thing is that you could be manipulated big time. So many people are lured into situations that they never would have got into if it weren't for money. So it keeps you open. It keeps you free of being used and tricked and things like that. So really, I cannot emphasize how important that piece is. Okay. So save, avoid expenses, as I mentioned, and put your faith in God. He will give you so much wisdom. I could have never guessed just 2 years ago that I would be able to be home, working full time, being a mom, doing what I love, and being able to more than provide for my child, making more than I did when I worked for someone else, like in a real job. Okay. God will supply all of your needs, and he has to, because he wrote that check. You could cash every check that he writes. He says, I will supply all your needs according to my riches and glory. Okay. And he does it that way. He loves showing up when it looks impossible, because when it looks impossible, you have no choice but to give him the credit. Okay. So ladies, be encouraged. Do not be discouraged. It says, be encouraged, for the Lord thy God is with thee. Do not worry if you do not have a daddy that has big pockets. Do not worry if you don't have a husband with big pockets. God is with you. He owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. All right, y'all. There are 6 of you who are still watching on Instagram. Please go over to YouTube. YouTube takes care of us. Okay, read into that. Please watch on YouTube. You can find the link in my story. Okay. Sorry, YouTube. I gotta beg my IG folks because they just don't know. Okay. I still love you guys. You just don't know. I know. Okay, so number 2. So I said a woman is concerned about feeling safe. She wants to feel safe financially and then physically. So here's what I can give you for physical safety, okay? Please listen to the men in your life. Please. Like, some of you have uncles, daddies, grandfathers, play uncles, play cousins, college roommates that are actually safe. There are so many men, and if you listen, there's consistent messaging, okay? Not like some one random piece of advice, but if you hear the men in your life who actually care about you, your brothers, right, your cousins, they're consistently telling you the same thing over and over again. Don't keep thinking, they're overprotective. I know what I'm doing. Child, I had no idea how serious it was out there until I got out there, okay? I had no idea why my daddy kept shotguns. I had no idea why my dad would have special conversations with men who came to my house. I didn't understand. There's a reason why we have men in our lives. And so even if it's not your daddy, there are people who will take on that role in your life if you let them. This is something that men it drives them insane. They are so protective of the women in their circles, even if it's their mom. Like, their moms are single sometimes, and they're like, I don't know what I can do to get through to this woman. She is hell-bent on doing whatever she wants. Ladies, we have to listen to the men who love us. We have to listen to the men who love us and have our best interests at heart. And like I said, if you keep seeing consistently the same message over and over again, there's a reason for it. They're not trying to kill your joy. They are not trying to stifle your fun. They're not trying to make you look like a grandma just to look like a grandma. They understand the minds of men, and who better to educate you on how men think and what men feel than a man. Okay? So if you don't have a boo thing, you might not have your daddy in the home. This is a way you could be physically safe, by listening to the men. Okay? Please watch on YouTube, you guys. The link is in my story. Okay, so what's the other thing? Where am I, y'all? Sorry, I got all into it. Here's the other thing. There's strength in numbers. So if you do want to go out, okay, you're safer if you're not like out late at night. There's a reason why grandmas talk about not being out past a certain time. But if you do have to go out, or you do choose to go out, there is strength in numbers. If you're traveling, ladies, if you are traveling and you don't have a man with you, strength in numbers. Most people don't want the smoke. So they don't want the hassle of trying to figure out what to do with 6, 7 women. Go in numbers. Do not be that chick who's like, oh, I just met him 3 minutes ago. It's okay, girls, go on ahead without me. Strength in numbers. I don't care if you seem like the C blocking woman who's like, no, 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 she's going home with us. How many women get really tipsy, can't control, figure out what to do, or they, they lose their good senses. It takes a village of women to protect us sometimes, okay? Last thing is, do not go to a man's house, okay, by yourself. Don't go by yourself, and don't invite him to yourself without anyone else there with you, okay? It is just not safe. There are too many stories I've heard of date rape, too many stories of just rape. Ladies, protect yourselves. If you're not with a man, if you don't have a husband, you don't have a bodyguard, you got to protect yourself. And finally, we're going to get into emotional security. And I know this first segment is kind of long, but this is heartfelt, you guys. I really need single women to understand this. And I am a lot of times telling women what not to do, what not to do, what not to do. So I want to spend the first segment telling the ladies what they can do, what is in their power to do, okay? For those of you who are watching on YouTube, please hit the like button if you haven't already. This just helps me with the algorithm, so please do that. And so you have to tap out of the chat box and then come back in if you want to see the button. There was a woman who was raped by her boyfriend when she was drunk. He came over to her place. This is real stuff, you guys. I did a survey with men, and it was shocking. These are not like crazy weird men. These were men in a private group, and I was asking them what their understanding of date rape was, and they did not realize. A lot of them said, we thought that that's what a woman wanted when she came over, okay? And I made it a safe space, so it wasn't like, they thought that's what they were doing. I really wanted to understand their minds, and they were saying, yeah, a lot of girls are good girls, and they don't want to make their first move, so they were counting on us to make the first move. And the women and I were just horrified. We were like, you're serious? Like, you really don't understand this is date rape. So I'm telling you guys, this is serious. This is serious. There's another story. Her friend left her at a party alone with 2 guys that they met barely earlier that evening. She said, short story, we're not friends anymore. It's scary stuff, you guys. It's scary stuff. This is why fathers are there to protect. Fathers are there to protect. It's so important. And this is going back to the whole thing about abstinence. If you are not abstinent, there's a chance you could get pregnant. If you get pregnant, you're going to have a child. That child is possibly not going to have a father. It's one thing if that father is, dies of natural causes or dies at war or something like that, or in the line of duty or at their job. But to just not have one from the beginning because you're not with him, you don't want to put a child through that, okay? Especially if you have a girl child, or if you have a boy child and he doesn't have anyone to really show him the way of the world. Okay, so let's see, where are we? So last thing is emotional security. We talk about financial security, physical security, and emotional security. The biggest thing that I can tell you, and I know if you are not a person who is spiritual, this can sound like, it's just a generalization, or it doesn't sound really helpful. But I promise you from personal experience, having not been super spiritual and then being super, super, super spiritual, this is a big one, and it's the biggest one. If you want emotional security, you have to find your peace in God. If you strongly desire marriage, you don't know when your marriage is coming. I believe that God will give it to you, but you don't know when his timing is. And so if you don't know how to get through without it, if you don't know how to get through and handle your singleness, you are going to be miserable. I'm speaking from experience, okay? I had a spirit of desperation. And what's worse is, because I didn't have that relationship with God, I had that spirit of desperation even when I was married. So I want to really clarify, being desperate does not get solved when you get in a relationship. You just think it's going to change. Like, well, maybe if he just did this, or maybe if he just, that spirit of desperation is a hunger for your spirit to be satisfied. And no man, I love our men, but no man can love us on that deep, deep, deep level that we need to be loved. Okay? That's why men are like, man, these women are never satisfied, because they can't. Men cannot satisfy us on a spiritual level. We can have momentary, fleeting moments of happiness and joy, but they cannot touch that deep spot. And I mean in the spirit, okay? You little nasty people. All right. We got 7 people watching Instagram. Please come to YouTube, because they take care of us on YouTube. So please, please, please. You can find the link to my YouTube live stream in my story. She said this message is so on time. Praise God, praise God, praise God. It's difficult for anyone to love anyone like God does. Exactly, exactly. You guys, I'm telling you, I could have spent the entire hour just on this segment. And I might go back and do something just on this topic, but this is serious. So please do not dismiss this. Please do not underestimate. And if you want to understand how to have a close relationship with the Lord, I work with my clients one-on-one. There's an actual process that I teach. It goes beyond just prayer. I'll just give you this one freebie, okay? So many people think I'm close to God because I pray. That is like saying I send letters one way to somebody. I'm really close to them. You sending letters one way to someone is just you talking to them. The way to spirituality is to read what the other person wrote back to you. Getting to know them, spending time with them. And so you have to read the love letter that he wrote to us. Okay? Once you broke down the spirit of desperation, it was literally life-changing for me to see myself in a mirror. Thank God for you and your loving word. Oh, I love that. I love that. Was it a previous video about the spirit of desperation? Let me know. I'm telling you guys, it changed my life. Overcoming the spirit of desperation literally changed my life. It changed me as a friend, a family member, a wife. It changed everything about me, because I no longer feel like I'm on fire. I always needed attention from a man until I broke free of the spirit of desperation. Okay. I'm reading these comments. Okay. All right. So let's get into the next thing. Emotional security. Let's see. Oh, I was like, what? Because I wrote this in a weird way. Okay. Once you get rid of the spirit of desperation, because everything that I am mentioning, like, you cannot do it in your own willpower. You cannot say mind over matter. I'm just going to just act like I don't want a man. If you have a spirit of desperation, and you know what I'm talking about, if you have the spirit of desperation, men have it too sometimes. They mask it a little better than us, but it's the reason why you keep going back to men who hurt you. It's the reason why you text that person when you get lonely and you break up with him, and then you regret it and you miss him later. It's not because they're such a great person. It's because you have a spirit of desperation. It's the reason why you incessantly swipe on dating apps. It's the reason why you post thirst traps. You are desperate for attention from a man, and it's like this insatiable appetite. And I use the word desperation because it's the only word fitting. It's not meant to be judgmental or anything like that. It's difficult. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to read these comments, and I shouldn't. I should read them after. Sorry, guys. Okay. So here's the other thing. When you, through the Lord's help, get rid of the spirit of desperation, it will allow you to actually have the patience to wait for the right man. Okay. And then the other thing is you can seek God's wisdom. Okay. So if you are emotionally unstable, you are just so stressed out because you're not with the man and you just feel overwhelmed. And it could also be that you don't know your purpose in life. A lot of things can cause you to be emotionally overwhelmed. But you can get the Lord's wisdom. And so ask him what it is that you should be doing with your life. And ask him for his wisdom that will help you to avoid the men who are going to derail you from your path and who will actually hurt you. Because if you get hurt over and over again, it's very difficult to overcome the spirit of bitterness. That's another spirit that will want to take over you. You will become resentful because of all the pain that you've endured. So it's just better to not even get in those painful situations. If you have his discernment, you know up front who to avoid. You don't even give them the time of the day. Lastly, you need to find fulfillment in being on your purpose for him. And this is so, so, so huge. You guys, this is not sexy what I'm about to say, but this is the truth that will absolutely set you free. So many women, because I was looking, I'm like, why are women so obsessed with money? Why are women so obsessed with money? And so what they're having like their own conversation in the comments. Lord help me stay focused. I have so much I'm trying to say right now. So women, I was like, why are you focusing so much on career? And so a lot of women were saying, when we get past the point of paying our bills, like we have enough money to pay our bills now. But I realized that they are looking to their career to fulfill them. There is a place that it's filling for them, and so they're doing that as a way of, it's like self-soothing. And so you have to be careful, because there is a difference between being on your God-given purpose, like this is what God put you on this earth to do. That is one thing. There's no downside to that. And there's another, trying to fulfill it yourself, and looking for money to satisfy you, looking for that high position to satisfy you. When you look for anything else to satisfy you besides God and what he has for you, it is going to result in stress and pain. So if you are in stress and pain, that's a big sign that you are not where you are supposed to be, okay? Because he will keep you in perfect peace if your mind is stayed on him. That is a promise that you can take to the bank. All right, so don't look for that high income career to fulfill you. This is the other thing. I will not say who this is, but somebody did this speech and it sounded so beautiful. And she's extremely well known, one of the highly successful women in Hollywood. And she did this big speech at a graduation saying how people think that she has it all, that she's the wife and the mom, and she's a successful career person. And she said, I don't have it all. She said, something always suffers. She said, something always suffers. If I'm succeeding in my business, my children are missing out. If my children are missing out, or if my children are like at the top, then my business is missing out. I'm missing out on a business meeting or something like that. And so she was saying, but at the end, and I thought, oh, wow, she's actually admitting this. She's admitting that women can't have it all. But she said at the end, she said, but you know what? At the end of the day, it makes me feel fulfilled. My career makes me feel fulfilled. Therefore, I'm a better mom to the kids. And I was like, in theory, I mean, like, I get it. I get the overall principle that you have to be at your best to take care of someone else. It's like putting the oxygen mask on yourself. However, I don't think that your career should be at the expense of your children. She literally mentioned missing birthdays, missing this and that. I remember Mindy Weiss. I'll say her name because she wasn't the person I was talking about. But Mindy Weiss is a famous event planner to the stars. And when I was seriously considering doing event planning full time, I ended up sitting in on one of her lectures because I was at an event company. It was what is it called? It was a convention. So I was coming as a vendor and I had downtime. So I went in and sat in on her speech. And she said, she was basically like scaring people out of the field. She's like, look, unless you want to deal with this, and this, I do not recommend you getting into the event space. She's like, I love it. I'm passionate about it. But she said, I have missed almost every single birthday for my children. I think she had all boys. She said, I have missed so many holiday events because all the events take place when it's holidays. So instead of being with her family and friends, she's putting people's events together. She put Lala Anthony's wedding together. She does like everyone's events, Kim Kardashian, what have you. Okay. So it's really important to understand that something is going to give. Okay. So you guys, I'm going somewhere with this, but here's the thing. I do not want to come in and just keep saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Because like somebody said, money is a resource. She said, money is necessary. Yes, money is necessary to live. But this is why I keep saying, go back to God's wisdom. God showed me that, you know what? You have to be at your best to be a good mom. So you know what I did? I had to sacrifice because I chose to be a mama. So because I chose to be a mama, I can't pick and choose when I'm a mama. So instead of getting up at 6:30, the normal time, I had to start getting up at 4:30. Okay? Instead of staying up late and watching TV until 10, 11 o'clock at night, I started going to bed when my children went to bed because I needed to be able to get up. So I had to sacrifice. I had to start going to bed at 8:30 so that I could naturally wake up at 4:30 because I don't believe in alarm clocks. I'm like, my body's going to get all the sleep God says it needs. So I will wake up when God wakes me up. But I had to figure out how to get up at 4:30. That gave me an hour to spend time nourishing my spirit with my quiet time with God. And it gave me another hour to get my body together, because you know how good you feel when your body's together. Not to mention, you got to keep it right and tight if you're a wife, okay? So we have to figure out how to make it happen as women. And if you don't have a man, you have to figure out how to do it all. And that means you have to sacrifice. One of the other things people say, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. Well, you make time to go to the gym. So if you're concerned about not having time, for the gym, how about you do a hack? Take your kids to the park. You always talk about how much energy your kids take. Well, instead of going to the fancy, Pilates class, which yes, it's air conditioned and it's fun, why don't you go run at the park with your kids, or go in the backyard, get a bubble machine, get hula hoops. Like, there's so many things that we can do if we really truly want to put our kids as a priority. But again, this is the substitute for waiting and doing it God's way. If we do it God's way, we don't even have the kids until we have the husband. And if we do it God's way, we have the husband who's in a position to help us, so that we're not having to work outside the home and be a mom. Okay? So I'm trying to give a little bit to the people who have already lived their lives and they're already with their kids. And then I'm going to give the information to the young ladies who have not embarked on their life. They haven't become moms yet. Okay? Y'all, if you're enjoying the conversation, please join on YouTube. I'm giving my all on YouTube, and YouTube takes care of content creators, so that's why I'd rather you guys watch it there and not on Instagram. So please, please, please watch on YouTube. The link is in my story. Okay? I know this isn't sexy, you guys. I'd have way more viewers if this was a sexier message, but the truth usually isn't as sexy. Oh, but it sets you free. It really, really, really sets you free. So we can find ways to work things out if we have to do it all. But just because you can, does that mean that you should, or would you even want to? Okay? She said, amen, he said, I'm able to support my wife who wants to stay at home with my children after we get married. I love that. So he's in a position to do that should he meet a woman who wants to stay home. And this is a thing. If you feel that you have figured out God's purpose for your life and it's outside of your family stuff, that's fine. But work it into the time. So do it while your kids are at school. Do it while the kids are at sleeping. You should never put yourself before your kids. You should never put yourself before your husband, meaning he has to suffer. Your kids have to suffer. That's what I mean by putting yourself before. So if you need to take care of yourself, which you do, get up in the morning and do it before, okay? Do it while you're like off the clock. Let's say like, use the restrooms on your break, or have your snack on your break. Don't do it on company time. That is why people need to understand and count the cost. When you sign up to be a wife, this is a job. When you sign up to be a mom, this is a job. Oh, I love it. That's what I'm doing right now, going to the park with the kids. Yes. Today, I spent some time with my daughter because right now I'm estranged from my husband, so I have to pay the bills. And so, there was an opportunity I had. The music was jamming. I was about to go to the gym, and I said, "Come on in here, girl. Let's have a dance party." And we sat there, and I burned calories. I have my heart rate monitor. I got 13 active minutes. It's when your heart rate is above like 113 or something like that. I got in 13 minutes of my 22-minute goal just dancing with my daughter in the bedroom. You can find ways to hack it out. Okay. I did a post today. Was it today? I don't know, whatever day. I think it was today. Talking about how capitalists have figured out how to use women. They have really preyed upon a woman's desire to feel important and have a purpose. And that's something that God made her that way. She wants to have a purpose. She wants to feel important. But the answer is not always in being a boss chick, okay? You don't always have to work outside the home. God will give you ideas on how to possibly work from home, or do something with your children. There are so many options is all I'm saying. I want to paint the option that it's not just being a feminist or this girl boss who just doesn't need men. Essentially what the corporations have done is it's pushed the woman out of the home, and this comes to what is the woman's place in the world. According to the Bible, the woman was created to be a helper to a man. You guys, I got the bots here, so let me go ahead and get rid of them. Takes just a second to report them, and then we gotta hide them on the channel. So feel free to report them too if you guys can see them as well. All right, so pretty cool. We went a really long time without them popping up. All right, so got those gone. So what the corporations did was they told the women, get out of the home. They got the women out of the home. So now the women are not in the home to help raise these kids. The kids are off doing their thing. And when I was raised, when I was coming up, my friends knew which houses to go to, which ones the parents were gone. Okay, so for people to say it's no big deal, it's a big deal. Okay, so the woman was created to be the helpmate to the man, and the man and the woman were instructed to populate the earth, to be fruitful and multiply. Okay, so I am not saying that you have to get married. You could still serve God on your own, but that is what God describes when it comes to women. When He first made the woman, that she was made to be a helpmate to her husband. The other thing is that the corporations have not only pushed women outside of their cozy, comfortable place in the home, they have turned them against men. It's one thing to say, oh, you can go out there and work side by side with a guy and build with him next to him. It's another to make them think you now do not need him because you are also able to earn money. Okay, we need men. We definitely need men. We definitely need them as partners. We need them as co-parents. Okay, and the last thing is that this big push that the corporations have done, it has caused women to become enslaved to money. I have women who say, I have an amazing husband. He's a great father to the children. But you know what? I just feel like I could be making more with someone else. There is a woman who went viral on her interview saying the same thing. She's like, I just want more. I want nicer things. When we start becoming slaves to money, that's a very, very scary thing. Our priority is money first, then our family. And that's no good. All right, so if you are single, you should just be focusing on being a child of God, on your purpose, okay? And His purpose is far greater than what you could have even imagined. And I think a lot of times when people think about God's purpose, it's like, oh, He's going to make you do something that you can't stand. Like, oh, He's going to have me doing this horrible chore that nobody wants to do. He's the one who put the desire in you. So, for example, I truly believe that I am on my purpose, teaching people about relationships and teaching people about the love of God. I did not do this kicking and screaming. I love this. It's in my wheelhouse. I love helping people. I love talking. So this is something that I love to do. He purposely equipped you for the role He assigned to you. So the sooner you stop fighting and get along with His program, you're actually going to reach the satisfaction that caused you to start this whole journey in the first place. Okay? If you're a wife, your job is to support your husband. And if you're a mom, your role is to raise your babies, okay? And be there for them. All right, so I knew that would take a while. Did not expect it to take 3/4 of my hour, but it is what it is. The next segment that I'm going to get into is a lot more somber, but I'm going to just get into it. It's not really much of a transition. I'm just going to get into it now. All right. Whew. Thank you, Anna Grace. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is Kevin Samuels and my thoughts on his work. I remember hearing about his passing when somebody tagged me in a post. I did an episode with 2 other content creators, and when they posted it, they said R.I.P. Kevin Samuels, and I was like, honestly, that's kind of disrespectful because I didn't know he had passed. So I was like, that's just so weird. And then maybe a little while later, I started seeing posts on social media and it hit me and I was like, oh, he's like gone. And I just felt this wave of sadness come over me and I was really shocked. And I was just like, what is this? Why am I so upset? And what I realized was there's a familiarity. Like, we were both content creators, you know, we both are in the relationship space. We are both doing what we feel we need to do to get the message across. And it was this sobering moment that, one, life is fleeting. Like, you might be doing a live stream the night before and then the next day you're just gone. So that was the first thing. It was just the sobering thing that, man, life is not, tomorrow is not promised. The other thing is, wow, you know, how you're remembered as a content creator is through your body of work. Like, we live very publicly, extremely publicly, and there's a lot of scrutiny that we have to take. If our delivery is off, or someone thinks our delivery is off, you're quick to find out. And so there were so many things that I related to him. And I have said this in previous videos. I had taken down the video that I did of him because after getting some advice from a friend, which was just to keep people's name out of my mouth, just in general, is a great rule of thumb. I just decided to take it down. And I'm even more happy now, even though I wasn't bashing him. But what I did say, and I'm going to say this within context, I totally understand Mr. Samuel's motivation. Unlike a lot of people who didn't like his content, I actually did sit down and watch his stuff from start to finish. Quite a few videos. There was a very, very powerful interview he did with Joe Budden, and he was, you know, because I hate sound bites, because sound bites are meant to be titillating. They're not meant to actually tell the whole story. And he got a chance to really speak. And so I really, really, really relate to him. The difference is that he's a man. And men and their delivery is radically different from a woman and her delivery. Men are very like, it is what it is. It's like if a guy's telling the news of someone passing, he's like, yo, so-and-so died. A woman is like, okay, sweetheart, so have a seat. You know, I know this is going to hit you really bad, but, you know, it's going to hit you hard. Da, 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 da. We're just a lot more flowery. We are a lot more sensitive. Men look at black and white. You're going to die. So we got to just pull this thing out, you know? And so what I saw, I try to give people grace. I really try to give people grace and try to understand the person's heart, because I know there are many times that I drop the ball when it comes to my delivery. And I think what happened with him is that he was trying to relay to men or to women how men see the world in order that women could be more effective in their interaction with men. And if you saw him talk to a woman who was very receptive and non-combative, the conversation would go very smoothly. But if a woman gave him attitude, he had a very, very human reaction. It is not easy to, for me, I'm a woman. It's 10 times worse as a man. But it is very difficult to have someone coming at you in a disrespectful way or hostile or aggressive way, or just making a bunch of assumptions, or worse, not letting you speak. It really takes a lot to keep your composure and not get upset. And so he would get really, really frustrated. But there was a lot of passion there. So when I look at his entire body of work, what I choose to recognize, and the reason why I wanted to give him a segment on this episode, respectfully, very respectfully, is that he spoke for a lot of men. Did not expect to get emotional. There are so many men who have confided in me, and I hate crying because I can't talk. No matter how much you disliked or liked Kevin's stance or how he delivered, what he meant to men was a voice that they felt they didn't have. so many men feel like they're not seen as humans because of what the media has done, making men seem like monsters, making men seem like they're just ATMs. A lot of men were hurting. And so I know a lot of men who were really struggling when he passed, because despite how he delivered his message, he spoke up for a lot of men. So when I look at the void that he left, I want to represent men in a good way. I want to speak up on behalf of men. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, sometimes women think that I am pro men. And I don't like saying I'm pro men, because to say I'm pro men, it sounds like I'm anti woman. And if I say I'm pro women, it sounds like I'm anti men. I'm pro love and I'm pro truth. And we're not winning if only women are winning. We're not winning if only men win. We win when we understand each other. And whether or not you think that he did it in a good way or the best way, he was trying to speak up for people who weren't heard. And I can respect that. And I'm doing my best to deliver the message with love. I'm trying to speak up for the people who don't feel like they have an advocate. I'm trying to speak up for people who don't feel heard. I want to speak up for people who don't understand how to do things. And there are so many people in this world who are spewing negativity. And it gets overwhelming to people. And there's such a need for encouragement and hope. And I think that the pendulum swings too far. There are people who really want to give women hope, but they're telling them a bunch of junk that is hurting them. And there are people who want to help women, but they don't understand women. And we're very soft. We're very sensitive. And if we don't feel like the person cares, we don't care what they have to say. I can look at someone like him and understand what he's trying to say and what he's trying to do. And I like to say the saying, eat the meat and spit out the bones. So on behalf of all of us who are trying to reunite the family and bring men and women back together. Oh, I thought I got my cries out. Y'all, it's annoying crying because you can't talk. It's kind of like people who are team Martin Luther King and team Malcolm X. They had different delivery styles, but they all were fighting for the same thing. So on behalf of all the content creators who are trying to bridge the gap between men and women, we salute you, Kevin. Rest in peace, Mr. Samuels. Wish I could take commercial breaks. Thank you guys for giving me a second. I should have done that segment last. Okay. Tap into my masculine energy and suck it up. Okay. Thank you, Mike. It's so funny you said a holy hug. That keeps coming up. A bunch of us have talked about spiritual hugs. I literally felt it. Okay. All right. Whew. Thank you for all the hearts. Thank you so much, Jen. Okay. Ooh. I hope all you guys who are watching on Instagram can watch on YouTube so that I can see the comments, because I want to give all my love to YouTube, and it's too hard to go back and forth. So you guys will see a pretty screen at this green screen too. So please join on YouTube. You can click the link in my story and come on the YouTube. Looking at some of these comments. Okay. Anyway. Takes a second to get it together, you guys. All right, we're going to get on to the next segment, which is my privilege. Oh, and I do want to say this. Let me put the other screen back on really quick. I want to say that anybody who has a heart and a soul has to recognize that the loss of somebody is not easy. That no matter what you feel about that person still has family members and things like that. And I think a lot of times we become so disconnected with social media that we forget that what's just our post or our video, YouTube video or something like that is public and people can see it. And so I haven't actually looked at a lot of comments because I already know what it's going to be like. But I've seen peers even posting things, and I just feel like this is the time for that old adage that our moms and grandmas would say: if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it. It's just in such bad taste to speak ill of the dead. And I really try to live my life in the way that I would want other people to treat me, which is give the person the benefit of the doubt and try to see the beauty in every situation. Not everyone is perfect, and it takes a lot of guts to get on a very public platform and speak your truth the best way that you know how. As loving and kind as you say I am, I still do content that people feel is, not sensitive or things like that. And you got to have thick skin to be in this industry. And so I just ask that, like I said, if you just don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. All right, so let's get into my privilege. I got a post, I had a post the other day that really caught me off guard. It was like, it wasn't a post, it was a comment rather. And they were saying that I didn't understand that some things because of my privilege. And I was like, privilege? That's the first time I had heard that, associated with me. And I really had to stop and think about it. I really do read every comment because I think that there's a lot of constructive stuff that can be gleamed. Not everything is just someone bitter and angry. You guys, can you watch on YouTube, please? It helps me so much. Click the link in my story. I'm going to have a red face for the rest of this episode. But I do have privilege when I really thought about it. And it does affect the way I see the world. And it does cause me at times to be insensitive unintentionally. And so I'm really trying to do better at understanding the plight that other people have so that I could be sensitive. And so this is sort of a confession. And it's also meant to serve for those of you who also share my privilege so that we can be more considerate when we comment with people and we have conversations online and in person with people who are less fortunate, okay? These were the ways that I was privileged. The first and the biggest one was that I was born into a home where my father was present. My father was extremely present. He was a provider. I never, ever wondered where my next meal was coming from. Even though we were on a strict budget, we wore clothes that were hand-me-downs. We shopped at consignment shops. People say Goodwill. My family said consignment shops, okay? I didn't know it. I did not know it until I was older. I never felt like we didn't have money. I just thought my parents were, good with money because my mom would go to like 3 different grocery stores and shop with coupons and things like that. But I never felt the pressure of money. Never had lights shut off, never had electricity shut off, things like that. So my father was there. Not only was he a provider, he was a protector. He literally was a protector. Like you ain't you ain't touching his kids, okay? I remember one time my dad walked to the gym. He had this 3-piece suit because he was always dressed to the nines at work. And he came to one of the sports games, and all of a sudden the boys just got up, and I was like, what's going on? I didn't know what was happening. And I looked down, you're up in the stadium bleachers, and I looked down to the door, and I see my mom walking with pizza because she was like the PTA, sweet mom, always with the brownies and stuff. And then my dad came walking in. He probably had his shades on at night. He's walking in with this 3-piece suit, and he's like, he had that whole look, that's my man impression. But dad has that swag, and the dudes just knew, like, don't mess with those girls. Like me and my sister, like they were not having it. They knew to leave us alone. And I mean, it sucked when we were kids, but it kept the boys away. So he was a protector. Not only was he a protector, but he educated us. He taught us everything about men. That's why I know so much about men. He bought me every book. He told me every lesson. One of his female friends said, you got to be the man in your daughter's life before she gets the man, romantically. So my dad showed me what it was like to get flowers. I literally would get like roses in high school. Like he'd send them on Valentine's Day. He would take me out on dates. He literally walked me through the process. This is what it looks like to have your door opened for you. This is what it looks like for the check to be paid. This is what it looks like to guide you and hold you in your, guide your arm. He literally modeled, not just with his words, with his actions, what a husband was supposed to do. So because I had a very clear understanding of what a husband was supposed to do, I noticed a husband when I saw one, and I married him. With my mom, she modeled a wife. She got up before the sun rose. She was cooking. She was cleaning. She made sure she always looked presentable when my father came home. She literally made it her life to serve. She is the most submissive woman I know in my entire life I've ever met. So I had this modeled for me. So it was not foreign to step into that role once I became married. I saw what it looked like. My mom was super present. This was another privilege. My mom was present. If I was sick, she came to the school and picked me up. If we needed baked goods, she wasn't buying them at the store. She was actually baking them, and then she was coming and volunteering. And I didn't like it at the time, but my mom was like the room mom. She was there. She was the bathroom monitor. She was the hall monitor. She was the chaperone for my senior trips and brought my dad with her. I was like, oh my God. But you know what? I didn't get in trouble. I wasn't out partying. I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't a teen mom. So I was privileged to be able to have the best setup for my future. Someone said that's not a privilege, it's God's design. Maybe a blessing, but not a privilege. I'm purposely using the word privilege because that's the lingo of the day. When you have a blessing, it's called a privilege today. So it's very tongue-in-cheek. But yes, it is God's design. So when I see someone choosing something else, it confused me. Like, why would someone do that? And I didn't understand that when you don't have a father modeling XYZ, you don't know what to look for. Therefore, you are going to be enticed by the guy that's the loser. You're going to be enticed by the guy who has nothing going for him. You're going to be enticed by the guy who just cusses you out every now and then. When you don't see something modeled, it's foreign to you. If you don't see the mom who's being submissive, if you don't see the mom that is yielding to her husband's authority, standing in agreement in front of the kids, and then privately asking questions, if you don't see that, it sounds weird when someone is suggesting that you do that. So to the women who grew up not knowing where their next meal is coming from, not being able to pick their dad out of a lineup, not having the mom in the home because she's working 3-4 jobs trying to keep food on the table, for those women who were abused growing up and they did not see how a man is supposed to be, and they have always been in survival mode, I am working very hard to be empathetic and learn how to communicate in a way that is effective to where you can understand that I do care a lot. Because I know that when you know how much I care, you're going to care a little bit more about what I have to share. So I am grateful for the blessings, as Aldrian says. I'm grateful for the blessings, but I am also very empathetic for those who did not have the fortune that I did. Whew. All right, guys. How are we on time? Y'all want to stick around me a little longer? That first section went a little longer. I'm trying to see if I should save this for next week. You guys give me your comments. Let me know how you guys want to move. What am I trying to be on? Hold on one second, you guys. Do you guys want me to save the rest of it for next week, or do you want me to keep going? So you could say save it or keep going. I want you guys in the comments to let me know which way you want to go. Because I am like halfway through everything. So we'll probably go, honestly, like another hour if I finish this tonight. So let me know how you guys are doing. And there's a delay. There's like a 2-minute delay. So I'll have to be a second. Okay, we got 1 vote for keep going. We'll see what the majority of you guys have to say. The next section is going to be, I'm going to be discussing the posts that I've been doing the last couple of days that really kind of took off, and give some take on there. 1 person weighed in. Either that or she's just a really fast typer. All right, we'll see what the majority says. Do you guys want me to save it for next week or keep going? Thank you, Susie, for weighing in. She said, we're here now. Keep going. I like that. It must be a guy. Very practical. I mean, we're here, so. Okay. All right. So we've got 3 to keep going. So we'll just go with the keep going. Y'all can come back and watch later if you can't finish. All right. So where are we? Okay. We're going to talk about the secret bank account. Okay. If you guys have not seen the post, I'm sorry. Y'all have to go back and look for it. But it was actually pretty funny because the post, I was like, I guarantee you a man wrote this, trying to make it sound like a woman did, because he just sounded like an angel in this post. Oh, you guys are so sweet commenting on Instagram. Can you guys jump on YouTube, please? It helps me so much. Please, it keeps going in and out on Instagram. Please click the link in my story and then watch on YouTube. It really helps me. All right, so here's the post. So it said, sorry, I'm looking at these comments. Sorry, Howard. It looks like you got outnumbered. All right, so you're gonna have to just watch it in the morning. I know it's late for you there. So what was I saying? Okay, so this post says, my husband is this awesome husband. He's always been a provider. He never makes money an issue. And, you know, like just singing his praises. And then it said, she said, and then My mom told me, though, it's really important to have a stash of money just in case something goes wrong. So I had the stash of money, and my husband ended up finding out, and he was really, really livid. And so, I love that, the Paris Power Club. Thank you. He said I'm submissive, so I came over from IG when you asked. I love that. So what's it called? So she said he found out and he was really, really hurt. And so he said it would be the equivalent if I had a side chick. Okay, sorry, I was trying to listen and read at the same time. So people were like up in arms debating whether or not that's the equivalent or what have you. But this was what I wanted to ask. It's so easy for someone to defend their position, right? It's really easy to say, statistically, if a woman is a homemaker, it could be really scary for her to not have her own access to money, because if anything happens, the man could just cut off her access. And we've seen the whole, it's easy to defend a position. That's easy. That's light work. You can do that in your sleep. It's harder to put yourself in the other person's shoes, which is why I asked the question the way that I did, which is, what would be the male equivalent? And what's interesting is, a man is the one who gave the male equivalent, but I'm curious to know, you guys can tell me now live, what is the male equivalent? You have something you are doing in secret. Your spouse, obviously, because it's secret, does not know about it. And it is a provision for the scenario in which you are no longer with your partner. What is the equivalent? And what people have said over and over, why can't you get on the live? Did you not see the link? It should take you right to YouTube. What is the equivalent? So the equivalent that I thought of, because when you say side chick sounds like he's having a relationship with her. I see the equivalent being fostering a relationship, right? A relationship where it hasn't become sexual. They're not keeping an access phone number. They're not intimate, okay? Because you someone might be able to say, well, that's crossing the line, they're intimate. But what if the guy says, look, I don't know if this is going to work out with my wife. I think you're gorgeous. We totally, an old relationship from high school. Oh, I like that. She's somebody I met before you. You know, at the time she was taken, but now she's single. I'm just going to have her on retainer. Okay? We just have we just have the friendship going, and she knows that if something happens, she's right there. We just haven't kissed or had sex. I think that's pretty much the equivalent. So for everyone to say it's okay for her to have the secret stash, my question is, why does it need to be a secret? When you feel that you have to do something behind your partner's back, that's the problem. That is what prenups are for. Prenups are not meant to be secretive. Prenups are meant to be public information. It's saying, in the case of a divorce, this is what's going to happen. So for everybody who is going to bat for her and saying, yeah, it's okay because you never know what can happen, why aren't you advising her to have a prenup? It's the secrecy for me. If I find out my partner is doing things behind my back, it's making me wonder what else is behind my back. That's what it is about a lie. The lie could be something totally innocent. And honestly, low key, I kind of think that's why I don't love surprises. Because surprises a lot of times require someone to lie or be secretive. I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling that knowing everybody was talking about something or planning something or doing something deceitful. And I know that sounds extreme, But I don't even want to see how good someone is at deceiving me. I don't like that. If you're that good at pulling something off, it's kind of like a bittersweet thing. It's like, yeah, wow, you really surprised me, but dang, like you really covered your tracks. I don't like that. Let me know, what do you guys think about surprises? I know it's extreme, but I just don't like that. All right, so the next one, why men are so frustrated in relationships. Okay, that's going to be the next one. Why are men so frustrated with women? And I got to say this for people who are new to my content. A lot of people are like, well, what about men? Well, what about what guys are doing? My audience is women. There are a lot of men who lurk and linger, okay? And they watch. But they're not my target audience. My target audience is women. And so I'm talking to women about what is in a woman's control. The men know what they're doing wrong. It's not a secret. Like, anyone who thinks that a man doesn't know he shouldn't cheat, a man doesn't know he shouldn't lie, a man who doesn't know he shouldn't be consistent, like, they know what to do. The problem is not men like, oh gosh, oh, cheating is it? Oh, now Yancy told me it's wrong. I should, like, you can't make somebody be convicted about something. What you can do is teach the other person offense and defense. You can't stop the other team, but you can sure as heck practice your offense and be really good at defense. The other thing is that as a woman, I'm going to let the guys take care of that. If a man wants to call out another man, knock yourself out. But if I call out a man, a lot of times the guys are like, who are you? You're a woman. I'm going to stick to women. Plus, that's in the biblical order. Okay. Now, the exception is if a man solicits my advice, and that happens. They're called clients. Now I know that this person actually cares about what I have to say, and they're paying good money to get it, and they value it, so it's not an issue. But publicly, no. My job is to help women. So I want to explain to women why men are so frustrated, okay? It's the hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy. Women have decided, because of this big push started in the 60s, that they no longer need men. They can go out and do everything themselves. They said, I don't need a man to provide for me. I can provide for myself. And that's fine. The problem is the hypocrisy. Women say, I want to be a provider, but not to my partner. When men are the provider, they are a provider for themselves and their partner. The second thing is the authority. So now that these women are out being providers for themselves, they're like, I don't need anybody telling me what to do. I'm a provider, so I get to run things. I am the authority figure. Well, it's fine to be an authority figure, but you got to take the consequences. You got to be accountable for the decisions that you make. And so many times the women bite off more than they can chew. They make decisions, they make their bed, but they don't want to sleep in it. I'll give you one example. The woman says, that's prudish to keep my legs closed. I want to be sexually liberated, right? Because it's liberation. And then she ends up having a baby. And then she's mad that she has to provide for this baby all alone. Or she's liberated sexually, and now she hooks up with a guy, and it's a one-night stand. He doesn't want to be with her in a relationship, and now she's angry. Well, you said you could be friends with benefits. A lot of times, a woman is doing things trying to be like a man, whether she realizes it or not. For example, a man can have sex with a woman and literally not even remember her name the next day. Like, it's just a physical act for a lot of them. There are a lot of things that a man can do and not think twice about it. When a woman tries to carry on in a man's role, she's not built for it. I'm not saying it's a positive thing. I'm saying she's not built for it. A woman is absolutely disgusted by having to provide. She's disgusted. You should see these comments. I have clients who are literally like, oh my God, I started making all this money and then my husband got real lazy and he just wants me to provide. Ugh. I have never heard a man say, I'm making so much money and my wife wants to stay home now. Ugh. He's like, yeah, my wife can stay home. I'm the man. We're not wired the same way. But the women are convinced that we are until she's not. And then she's in denial about it. It drives men crazy. The next thing is protection. Protection's part of that bag. A woman does not want to protect herself. You see a woman about to get mugged and let there be 3 dudes set on the side. She gonna be like, what the? Y'all just gonna let me get mugged? Or get on a train and they're sitting down and not letting her sit down? She expects there to be a role for the man, but she wants to play parts of the role herself. But it's only the parts that serve her. That is what you call hypocrisy, and that is what is so frustrating to men. The other option is that they want to be a partner, but only conditionally. All right, I'm not going to try to wear the pants, but I am going to be a partner to you. Not submissive to you. I'm going to be your equal. But what I'm bringing to the table is what I value, not what you value. That's like a cat and a dog trying to form a partnership. And the cat's like, hey dog, I'll let you play with my ball of yarn. Dog's like, I don't want to play with the ball of yarn. Like, I'm good. I'd rather chase the ball. Like, no, I'll let you claw on this little, what is it called? Catnip, or the little, what is that little carpet thing? The dog's like, I'd rather chew on a bone. The women are trying to lead with the stuff that is attractive to women. That's why you see so many women saying, I own my house, my car's paid off, and I make 6+ figures. The guy's like, I don't care. That's the equivalent of a man saying, I got an hourglass figure. I have supple lips. Like, I don't care. That's not what moves me. So, ladies, if you're going to be a partner, you got to actually bring to the table what he is attracted to, which we're going to get to in our next segment. What makes a man attracted to a woman? The alternative is to actually be a partner to a man, okay? You got to let the man provide. Provide and lead. And before you say, ladies, oh, he's not qualified, I say, why the heck is he your man? When I give the truth that a man is supposed to lead, women are quick to say, but the men are not being leaders. So then don't let them lead you. What does that have to do with anything? Pick a qualified candidate. Why are we talking about the unqualified candidates? He did not magically become a husband. You did not wake up one day and you're like, oh God, what is this man doing next to me? No, you went through a whole dating process. You went through a whole engagement process. You went through a whole wedding. He put a ring on it. You accepted. You made babies with him. You did not wake up one day and there's some big old dude with the beard next to you. You chose for him to be your man. It wasn't an arranged marriage. And if it was, they would not have picked him for you. Take accountability, ladies. Take accountability. And you want to know something crazy? When you stop rewarding bad behavior, the bad behavior It's so crazy. Even though men are the leaders, they follow the woman's lead. If women say beards are in, men are making beards, growing out beards. If women suddenly said chucks are it, bunch of men would be wearing chucks. If women said three-piece suits are in, men would be wearing three-piece suits. If women suddenly said high-pitched voices are in, men would be trying to speak in a false register. Like, whatever women want and say is hot, men get to it. It's whatever we respond to. Men will do whatever we respond to. So ladies, who really has the power? If we stop responding to the foolishness will stop. Because men are not dumb. There are a lot of things, but they're not dumb. They know if I do X, Y, Z, I have less and less and less chances of getting laid. They're gonna stop doing it. Okay? By the way, guys, if you could do me a huge favor, watch this on YouTube instead of Instagram. The link is in my story. YouTube takes much better care of content creators, okay? All right, so let's see. Let him take authority. Let him take authority. If you actually want to be a real partner, let him take authority and really be grateful that you're the one who doesn't have to hold the bag, okay? One of the beautiful things about not being the lead is when they make a wrong turn, you're just like, I'll just be over here. That's the awesome part about not being a boss. Because you're like, when the boss makes the wrong call, you're like, imagine being the head coach and you put the wrong player in. Hey, the assistant coach is not the one that's going to get the heat. Okay? We got some more spam, so let me get rid of them really quick. Goodness. We don't want your porn invitations, bot. All right, there we go. They should be gone now. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let him protect you. When he's trying to protect you and he's letting you know, hey, love, don't wear that, please. Don't post pictures like that, please. Don't be going out to that location. Don't just assume that he's insecure. He's most of the time trying to protect you. Remember what I said at the very beginning about when you have men in your life or when you actually get your husband, don't think that he's just this insecure dude who's trying to control you. He understands how men move. He understands the men who will act like dogs, and he wants to protect you. Okay? Not only protect you physically, but protect your reputation. Because as women, we think, oh, because the women are like, yes, queen, yes, we look good. A lot of the men are like, oh, I could get with her. She's easy. No man wants his woman to look easy. Let me break it down. If a dude thinks that he could easily have sex with you, that's what easy means. It doesn't matter if he actually could or could not. It's the fact that you look like he could. This is why I had to learn this, smiling in a man's face. Smiling in a man's face. To a woman, smiling is innocent. We can smile all day long. We as women, we can cuddle up with another woman. I've cuddled with women like on the couch like, hey, innocent and sweet, right? You smile at a dude, he's like, yeah. We are not built the same. That is why when a man tells you things about the man's world, listen. It doesn't matter if you agree. There's nothing to agree with. It just is. Just like there are certain things he's not going to understand. Ladies, you know how you say, oh, she's not as innocent as you think? She don't really need help with that tire. She's just trying to, you know how we can see right through women and men be like, ugh, like sometimes they don't get it. There are things in reverse that men understand man code. He doesn't want you wearing the leggings when his boys are coming around. Don't fight him on it. Okay, babe, cool. Be glad that he is actually protective of you. Okay? You have no idea the things that he has spared you from. Even if it's just people inappropriately looking at you. For me personally, people are like, well, that's their fault if they're thinking this way. Okay, for me, Can we keep it like a buck? How do I say this in a YouTube friendly way? I do not want any of my photos or videos to be material, can I say, stimulating material for a random dude. Do you get what I'm saying when I say material? Okay. He should have to pay for it from somebody on a website or from one of these links that they are putting up. I do not want to be free material for a man to be stimulated, shall we say. So many women look at attention as being this amazing commodity, and attention is not what it's cracked up to be. Attention just means someone's looking at you. It doesn't mean you're great. It doesn't mean you're worthy. It doesn't mean you're valuable to them. It just means they're paying attention to you. Don't let these people look at you for stimulation. That's gross. But the mainstream media wants to tell you that that's the highest compliment. No, it's not. Don't look at a blow-up doll and get just as excited. It's not a compliment. All right, we're going to move on to the next segment. Now, this segment I did a whole YouTube video on, and so I'm just going to do a shorter segment for you guys on this one, for those of you who missed it. But if you want to get the full deal, watch the video. It's basically the same name, 5 Things That Attracts a Man to a Woman. 5 Things a Man Finds Attractive, something like that. But I'm going to just rattle them off here. There essentially are 2 categories, okay? Real short and sweet. For a man to be attracted to a woman, he has to find her physically attractive, 1, and 2, he has to find her personality attractive. So I'm going to give you examples because you're probably going to go, duh. You know, he has to like her personality, think she's pretty. Okay, but it's deeper than that. It's much, much deeper than that. And I really get deep in the video. But essentially, for being physically attractive, it just means being in shape. A lot of times when someone says, oh, someone needs to be attractive, they think that they have to be a 10 off the scale. Like, oh my gosh, she has to just be like ridiculously beautiful, like crowd head turner. No. She could be a girl next door. That's why so many dudes, when they get married, other chicks are hating like, ew, what did he see in her? Men are not as picky as the world would make you think, okay? Let her eyes be like even across, have her side teeth, full lips, whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be what we're looking at standards of beauty, ladies, okay? Just means that she's in shape. What did it say? Her belly don't hang over, her belly don't stick out more than her booty do. What's that saying? A booty do? Have yourself together. Be tight. Go to the gym. You know, just skip out on some chips and some soda every now and then. 20 pounds lost will go a long way. Just be in shape. That's it. Be in shape. You do not have to look like you just came out of a surgeon's office. Okay? Don't go out and get a BBL. Don't do plastic surgery. Literally just whatever God gave you, just tighten it. That's it. That's the biggest thing I hear men say. Man, if she just wasn't so out of shape, she'd be amazing. Be groomed. Well groomed. Okay? Keep up with your nails. Doesn't mean you have to have a full set of nails. If you wear your nails natural, keep them clean. Maybe put some polish on it yourself, but keep them filed, clean, whatever. Just be clean. Keep your house clean too. So many men are like, oh, she was beautiful, and her house was disgusting. Her car was disgusting. Okay? Just have pride in your presentation. And don't just I mentioned this in another video, don't just get a hairstyle just because you saw someone on a video do that. Honey, we don't all have the head shape. Okay? There are certain hairdos I just cannot rock. I do not. Okay, I did it one time, and my roommate in college will never let me forget this. I don't have the head shape for a Halle Berry short haircut. I can't do the JD Pinkett. Like, okay, I have a healthy head. Okay, full size head. I don't have the head shape for a little pixie haircut. So make sure you get something that's complimentary to you. The clothing that my daughter can wear don't look as cute on me, and vice versa. Age appropriate clothing. Okay, so just be groomed. Dress appropriate, like I said. And then the biggest one is modesty in public. There's a reason for that saying. A lady in the streets. A lady in the streets. The reason for that is because provocative clothing, the root word to provocative is provoke. What are you provoking? Why would you want to provoke that outside the bedroom? The purpose of being provocative is to provoke your husband to full attention. Why are you trying to provoke random men? Again, the media says, oh, it's because it's your right, you're free, you're liberated, and don't you want attention? No, I don't want that kind of attention. Goodbye, I'll miss me on that. Give me attention because I'm a good mom. Give me attention because I'm great with my business. Give me attention because I'm intelligent. I don't want attention because I can make something else stand at full attention. No. So the second one is have an attractive personality. So many women are taught that your face and your body is it. So your face is cute, your body's tight, and you're like, cool, done. I can get any man I want. No, you can't. You could probably catch the attention of any man or most men. But after you've caught his attention, can you keep his attention? Okay, that's the difference between attracting and retention. Okay, attraction and retention. The woman who has retention with a man is a woman who shows she's a team player. Okay, she's not the Shaquille O'Neal, you know, they said the Shaq Kobe dynamic. Like, you need a team player. You don't want someone that's just trying to take all the spotlight. Who was a Shaq said, I wish my ego wasn't so involved. I wish I had just been more of a team player with Kobe. We could have just done so much more. I believe that's what he said. I'm getting it secondhand, so don't quote me on that. But a man wants a team player. He doesn't want to feel like he has to drag someone along everywhere. Not be defensive. Okay, you cannot be a defensive person. And it's not about being a doormat, not ever having anything to say. There's a difference between asking questions and being inquisitive and constantly just being defensive. Oh, why did you say that, babe? What did you mean by that? I would not have come to that same conclusion. Can you tell me what brought you to that conclusion? That's very different than, that was the stupidest thing I ever heard. Why you do that? It's an energy thing. A woman who's open-minded has a more pleasant personality. She's not stubborn. She's open to stuff. Even if it's open to trying new things, new foods, new experiences, new thoughts, new thought processes, new ways of looking at life. She's not just rigid and stuck one way. The other thing is that she's generous. This is huge. So many men struggle to find women who are generous. So many women are taught, if you're beautiful, just receive, just receive, just receive. And they're blown away when a woman gives back, even if the giving back is just saying thank you, or a text saying, I enjoyed myself tonight, can't wait to see you again. Don't be self-centered. Another one, she's grateful. Someone who has a attractive personality, she's grateful. She's absolutely grateful. She does not take it for granted, and she's not greedy. She doesn't just take just because she can. She's sensitive to his budget. She's sensitive to his time. She is someone that thinks outside of just herself. The other one is that she's fun and has a pleasant attitude. We all know what that moody chick looks like. She's got a resting bee face, as they call it, you know? She's just a stick in the mud. She never has fun. She's just uptight all the time. There's always something wrong, okay? Whether it's her cycle, there's something she's always blaming her bad attitude on. Nobody wants that. He's going to want someone who's positive and proactive. So let's say there is an issue. She's proactive. She does speak her mind, but she's like, here's the solution. You know, I'm a little bummed out because of XYZ, but, you know, in the future, can we do da-da-da-da-da? She's proactive, okay? Have some things to talk about. So many men say that women are super, super boring to be around. Have something to talk about. Read the news before you get on the phone. Like, just skim the highlights, anything. Have something interesting to talk about. Have a life, have hobbies. The other thing is be kind, be loving. Just be a kind person. And ladies, we're so lucky because with men, they're required to be tall and they're required to be rich and they're required to have all these things. We're just asked to be nice, basically. Like, be nice. A woman who knows how to read a room is priceless. She knows when to bite her tongue and when it's a good time to speak. Thank you, Link. Is she graceful? Is she refined? Is she the woman who knows etiquette? Like, Don't overlook that. Knowing that you can take her anywhere, knowing that you can take her around different circles, you can bring her to a business meeting or you can bring her to your buddy's house in the hood. Having a woman who knows how to move and is elegant and graceful, she's not cursing like a sailor, it's just, that's valuable to a man. He notices that stuff. Is she self-aware? Is she totally in denial about who she is? Or does she realize, I do have flaws and I'm working on them? The biggest thing to understand is that when a man picks a woman, a lot of times he doesn't have to be with her. He wants to be with her. And he wants someone who's a reflection of him. The same way that we raise our children to be a reflection of us. It's like when they act up, we're like, oh God, I don't want anyone to know it's my kids. It's that. You don't want to be that woman that he's like, oh my God. They're like, that's your girl. That's you, man. He wants to look at her and be like, that's me. Yeah. I just saw a little clip of Steve Harvey at some award show. I don't know which one, but he was talking about his wife and just the way he was glowing and just talking about her. He was beaming. She is a representation of him, and he's so proud of her. Men want to see their woman as an extension of him. He cannot be there and know that she's going to represent him and their family well. She's not going to disgrace his family. And last but not least, a man is looking for a woman who brings out the best in him. If a woman is combative and always, trying to challenge him and not in the good way, after a while that just wears him down. He's not going to want that. So ladies, this is what makes you most attractive to a man. Focus on your exterior being the best it can be, but more importantly, get that interior tight. Self-awareness and relationship with God will take you very, very, very far. I want to give you guys some things to think about. This is the very last one. I've come to realize in looking at a woman's behavior that a lot of times a woman is not really ready for a husband, even though she thinks she is. There was a video that I posted, a little clip, and it was a woman explaining how two men were vying for her attention. She was saying that they were spoiling her, buying her things, taking her on trips, paying bills, things like that. And she's like, I think it's possible to be in love with two people at the same time. And it broke my heart when I saw that, because I'm like, honey, you're in love with what they're doing for you. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a man providing. I'm not saying that. But to describe their behavior, all she did was describe their behavior towards her. And she said, I'm in love. I could be in love with two people at once. That's telling me that she thinks that that's what love is. And so it's very important that we look and see, do we love men? Or do we love what men do for us? That's hard to really face that reality. But think about it. Think about the last guy you liked, or the last guy you were with, or the guy you're with now. Do you actually like him? When I coach people, I ask them, what is it that you like about your partner? And usually people will list off the things that they do for them. Oh, he's so handsome. He makes me laugh. He always makes me feel safe. It's always what they can do for you, as opposed to just who they are as a person. I love his integrity. I love that he's an honest person. I love his ambition. He always works so hard. I love his relationship with the Lord. Do you even know what that person is all about? Or do you just like what they do for you? Do you like him, or do you just want his provision? Do you need him, or do you just need his sperm? Do you like him, or do you just like his protection? Do you like him, or do you just like how you look next to him in photos? I was guilty of that when I was younger. I already had the wedding in my mind picked out. All I needed was the groom on the cake topper. It was like I could just insert any man into that equation. And that's happening with so many women. They want the money, they want the experience, they want the children, they want the lifestyle, and they just put the guy in there, and the men can feel it. You could just substitute a different guy for him and it wouldn't matter. She'd hardly notice. because it's not him that she's into, it's what he can do for her. And that is what is making so many men break down and get frustrated. And frankly, a lot of them are suicidal because they feel like they are just what they can provide. Kevin Gates opened up and bravely told his story about deciding to commit suicide. It was actually a random statement of a fan that made him not stick with his plan. But they said, you know, I just feel like all we're good for is what we bring to the table. It doesn't seem like we're seen as a human, basically, with needs. I always say this, if you don't know what to buy someone for their birthday or Christmas, it's a pretty good sign that you don't know them. You should be able to know what kind of experience they would love, what kind of a gift they would love, the things that would make them happy. Question, these things you listed must be cultivated. Do you have any suggestions on how and where to practice or cultivate these traits? If you are speaking of the characteristics that a man is looking, actually, just answer that. Are you speaking of the things that are the characteristics that a man is attracted to? Is that what you're speaking of? I want to make sure I'm answering your question carefully. If you actually value a man, you're going to care about his pain. You are going to be sick if you know that he's upset or hurting. You're not going to want to go on with your day until you figured out how to make it right. Because you can accidentally hurt someone. But once you know you accidentally hurt them, you're going to do everything in your power to figure it out. You're not going to tell them, just suck it up, act like a man, or get over yourself. Do you care about his goals and dreams? If not, you're just going to blow through money just because it's there. Maybe he was saving up because he wants to start a business. Maybe he's really concerned about, getting something off the ground. And temporarily, he just needs to rely on you a little bit with your income, but you're so bent on, no, I don't want a man to. Are you open-minded? Do you understand who he is? Do you know what keeps him up at night? Do you know what worries him? Do you know what inspires him? Do you know what makes him feel so alive? Men are taught from the second they are conscious that they have to go out and do and do and do. And therefore, so many men feel like they have to perform in order to get a woman's love. I cannot imagine what that would feel like, to feel like I wasn't worthy of love unless I was producing. That would put a fear of God in me, that if I ever stopped producing, that the love would go away. A lot of guys feel like they're just being used. They feel like they are a means to an end. I need a baby, so let me let you knock me up. I need my bills paid, so let me just make you my husband. They don't feel like they're being chosen because they are who they are. So I want you to understand that not all men are dogs just waiting to have sex. Not all men are dictators looking to boss you around. Not all men are incredibly selfish and self-centered. Not all men are shallow and insecure. And men are not one-dimensional. They are multifaceted, and the more safe they feel around you, the more you will see those various facets, okay? They're very good at compartmentalizing, and if you don't make them feel like you're worth them showing you that, you won't get exposed to it. And it's not because the sides aren't there. It's because you just don't have access to it. It's kind of like going into a house, a mansion that has 11 bedrooms, but you only see 2 or 2 rooms in the house. And you're like, man, this house only has 2 rooms. And everyone's like, there's like a bowling alley and a movie theater and a sick backyard. But you only get access to 2 because you haven't allowed him to feel comfortable enough to open up to those sacred rooms. Not all men are lazy, but a lot of men need a woman to help inspire and encourage them when the going gets tough. Your words could breathe life into their spirits, but instead you're tearing them down and making them second guess themselves. They don't have all the answers, but they have to always look stoic, like they know everything. It's very difficult being a man, but it's a lot easier when you have the support of a loving woman by your side. So let's start to understand men a lot more and really be honest with ourselves. Do we actually love that guy? Or do we just love what he can do for us? All right, guys, I told you it was probably going to be 2 hours. We are an hour and 50 minutes in, but we made it. Comment made it. If you made it to the end, you guys have bragging rights once this closes out, because nobody can write in the comments except for the people who came and watched it live. So I want you to comment made it. Let's see. Aww, so sweet. Looking at some of the comments. Transition. Link was mentioning, he was talking about my course. I actually was supposed to launch it on April 28th, my birthday, and I felt an intuition, which I know was God. I had confirmation it was God. I had intuition to push it out. And as a result of me pushing it out, every single day, and not a day has gone by that I have not received what I like to call a download. I get inspired. It just comes. Anyone who's a creative understands when creativity comes and inspiration comes, it downloads. And so I have just been writing my course. So thank you so much, Gator. I've been adding to my course, so I'm really glad that I did not launch it when I did, because it would have been missing all the stuff that I've been adding to it. So I'm really excited to launch that. And actually, because Link was saying, is there anyone who's graduated from my course? When I am done, I am going to let everybody who participated in my course be inside of my private community, because I want people to be able to have first dibs at people who have actually really worked to be the best version of themselves. And I know that anybody who goes through this course, I hate it when I forget to click the button. Anyone who's gone through this course is serious about becoming the best version of themselves. And so my goal is to have a nice private community where men and women can be introduced to one another. Like I said, I've had so many marriages come from the conversations we've had in my my other groups. And so I'm going to create one just for the people who have completed the course. So that is happening. It's called the Divine Union, you guys, and I cannot wait for you guys to be able to experience it. Essentially, it is how to tap into divine power. So if you have a woman tapped into her divine feminine and a man tapping into his divine masculine, together they form a divine union, and that is the most powerful partnership on the planet. We are actually given dominion over the entire earth when we are together as a divine couple. The next thing is, oh, you guys, I'm coming to Atlanta. Please type Atlanta or ATL if you don't want to type it all out. But I'm coming to Atlanta next month. I love Atlanta. I have a lot of friends there, and it's one of my top 3 favorite places to go within the U.S. So I'm going to be coming next month. I have a bunch of podcasts that I'm going to be filming for. I've got a lot of people in Atlanta who've been wanting to collaborate, so I'm just going to knock them all out at once. But while I am there, I am going to be filming a project. So just like we have our group chats here on YouTube, we're going to do it in person. So if you would like to join me in person and you're going to be in Atlanta the very last week of June, click the link in the description of this video and it will allow you to be considered as a panelist. So go ahead and fill out that information there, and then I can see who wants to be on there. And I'm going to have a couple of women, a couple of men, and it's going to be amazing. So make sure you do that. That's on the link. Also, in the description is my email, the link to my email. Make sure you guys are tapped in. You can always unsubscribe at any time, but make sure you tap in, because one, I use that to send out mass messages. So for example, everybody who's on my email list, they already knew about my Atlanta trip. So you guys will get the information first. If you're trying to just happen to see it on social media, that's it. You might see it, you might not. So make sure you're on my list so that you are always in the know. The other thing is that I don't own YouTube. I don't own Instagram. I don't own TikTok. So if something happens to them, those platforms, or they decide to kick me off, I'm stuck. I do not want to lose access to the 30,000 plus of you who are in touch with me through social media. And so I want to make sure that I have direct access to you through email. Like I said, if you want to unsubscribe, you can. So if you decide you don't want dating advice anymore, you just click that button, but at least be there for now if you do like my stuff. There was that one day, it was like a year ago, Instagram went down and it was like horrible, but I was able to still email and let people know what was going on. What else? We got Atlanta, my email list. Oh, I'm so glad I wrote this down so I didn't forget. Okay. For those of you who are writing in the comments, because that helps me to remember, group coaching. So in addition to one-on-one coaching, I've been doing one-on-one coaching for about 6 months now, and it has been awesome. But there are a lot of people who just don't have the budget to be able to do one-on-one coaching, and I understand and I empathize. So I have decided to offer and add to my list of services group coaching. So what people can do is they can subscribe monthly, and then I will have group coaching available. And so basically the questions will just be first come, first serve, but people can ask questions because I got a lot of people who are try to hit me up in my DM looking for advice, and there's just no way I can answer everyone's questions. I just don't have that kind of time. And so he's trying to get me to plan an event. Oh, I learned the hard way about event planning. Well, yeah, that would have to take an act of God because my group, especially with cruises. But yeah, like I said, that would really require a lot. Just my experience with people and flakiness and events. Oh, Lord. If it were up to me, we'd have an event every single month. But people just, yeah, they just, no. What was I saying? Okay. And then Thursday is my Bible study. If you are on my email list, then you already get notified of my Bible studies. I have the reminders there. But if you're not on my email list, you can opt in and click the link to be notified about the Bible study. And that's it, you guys. All right, I have 3 minutes left before 2 hours exactly. Whew, that was a lot. Thank you to everybody who joined on YouTube. If you watch on Instagram, doesn't help me at all. I'm very transparent about that. So if you came over to YouTube, thank you. And of course, you get the nice, beautiful black backdrop, and you get the graphics, and you get to see the comments. Those of you who are on Instagram, next time, do better. I'm just kidding. Next time you see me on Instagram and the caption says streaming on YouTube, please go to YouTube because YouTube takes care of the content creators there. So thank you, YouTube, for that. Appreciate that so much. That's it, guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end. You guys were amazing. And that's all I have for you. I will see you out here on these Instagram streets. Please make sure that you, like I said, check out all the links in the description below so that you can make sure to get the information about Atlanta, and you can get all the other information about group coaching and things like that. Until next time, guys, please make sure that you tell someone that you love them. And I hope it's super, super apparent just how much I love you. Good night.